We're kicking off the hour having a conversation about women in business, digital business transformation. But before we do that and introduce our guests in the studio this morning, we're going to kick off with today's proverb, CT.
Unamlaumu mwewe, kipanga yuwesha kuku. Now, mwewe is a hawk. Kipanga is a falcon. So, in simple English, it's you want to blame the hawk while the falcon is busy killing chicks. So, we'll unpack it as we go along.
We will unpack it as we go along. And speaking of unpacking things this morning, women in business, entrepreneurship for women, here in the region and across the world. We're joined by two guests in the studio this morning. Moses Kusasira, who is the president and co-founder of the Global Soko Foundation, INC, specifically the Dada Soko project. Karibu sana.
Asante.
And also Pete Munyasia is the director of operations and co-founder of the Global Soko Foundation Dada Soko project. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in the studio today. We're on the show today, even as we are trying to unpack things, having a conversation about women, business, opportunities, entrepreneurship. These are words that all come together at some point and have been quite front and center in the recent years. So I guess let's just start to unpack it and see what exactly we are talking about and which opportunities then have been created for women as we go along. Or maybe we can start off with you, Moses. Tell us then about the foundation and then specifically Dada Soko.
Absolutely, yeah. So we created the foundation about 2.5 years ago. And the foundation was to provide assistance in the digital space to different groups. And so when the pandemic hit, we decided to create a project called Dada Soko, sister market, to help our women, mainly the young entrepreneurs that might not have access to digital tools, might not have access to the market, the global market. And so, we came around a few months ago. We started building the platform made here in Kenya. And this platform basically provides them a market globally, and it gives them the ability to sell their products, not just globally, but also locally. So if somebody has products in Siaya, now you can sell them, in Mombasa, and we handle all the logistics, end of things. This is it's an important project for us because as the saying goes, when you feed the woman, they'll feed the village, right? And so we focused more on the end of providing, assistance in understanding how digital tools. So it goes from training. We train the women, in digital space. We provide them with any kind of digital help they need, whether it's social. And if they don't have a phone, we also have a program where we provide the phones. But our whole idea is to create social impact and give the women the ability to have a larger market. Mainly after the pandemic hit, we understand tourism has gone down,
right?
And things like that. So instead of us waiting, let's take the products to the people, the buyers in the United States and hopefully in Europe pretty soon.
Right. So then, Pete, what does it look like? A woman is looking to get plugged into the system. I have product here and I'm saying, okay, my market here is diminished for whatever reason, and I'm trying to, get on this platform. What exactly does it look like in terms of mechanics playing out?
Yeah. So what that means, thanks first for having me here today. The women that want to get plugged into what we're calling an ecosystem, that is a win-win situation for anybody who's coming into that ecosystem now, the Dada Soko project. First thing is they need to sign up on the project. So datasoko.com, if you go there, there's a sign up link. Once you sign up, depending on which region you're on, we do workshops. We have like 2 to 3 day workshops, and we take care of the logistics, whereby once we set up the schedule and we know which days we go there. We set up we have people calling you, make sure everything is organized. You get transportation from your home to the training for 2 days, sometimes 3 days, and then we get you back. If you need accommodation, we offer that as well. So by doing that, we're doing that because we want our women to understand the process, because the market we're going after initially right now is the United States. The market is used to different ways of doing things like review, things like feedbacks, things like customer service. When the user over there want to interact with the producer here, what does that mean? So we take them through that training step by step. First, learn about Data Soko, learn about how to be digitally ready to interact, either is a web version or on the app. And it's been a very, very, very learning and humbling experience for me and the team, because we're learning as deep as we go in Kenya. These are challenges our women face, and some of them, in some cases, they don't even have a smartphone. They don't even have an email account, But and that's part of the digital transformation we're bringing. Instead of telling them, "Hey, go get a phone, go sign up," we walk them through that process, and that's what you're mentioning about. In some situation, we provide the smartphone to get them ready as we go digital right now. The one thing about COVID, what it's taught us is now, you can do anything remote. You don't have to be anywhere physical. So what we try to do and teach our women is prepare for that type of environment going forward, whereby you in Siaya, you in Bondo, in Kitui, wherever you are, if you have a unique product that fits the US market, you can sell that from your village. And think about that. Somebody will buy something overseas, and it's getting picked up from the village, and the woman gets the payment direct to the M-Pesa. So that's the transformation we're bringing, direct access to the consumer that they don't have today.
So, you want to compete with Amazon, do you?
We want to empower people first, but probably that's going to happen. But we have a niche where it is specific for women.
Yes. What I hear, I like, and I am delighted. I am delighted that you have a foundation which you've set up. You have determined that you are going back to your roots, and you want to ensure that whatever you've heard and understood and learnt in the part of the world that you've gone to and you probably now live in, you want to bring it back so that it can benefit our people.
Yes.
Now, many people have begun such projects. Very well-intentioned projects, very well-purposed and very well-directioned. When you think of success for you, and when you think of what it is you'd like to actually see happening, what do you think? What do you envision? What will success actually look like? When you arrive here, okay, this is what we wanted to do, and it's happening. What will it do? That's part one of the question. There's a part two, but let's go with part one first.
Success for us,
yes,
is actually already seeing success. And I was talking about how some of these women, they didn't even have email accounts. They didn't even know what is digital transformation. And the fact that we were getting them online, so now they have an online presence. Okay, before they have an online presence. What does that mean? Somebody can go to Data Soko, if you know that person brand, XYZ collections or XYZ designers, you can search them there and you can see them there, you can see their product. So to me, already we're seeing success. But long term though is, and you're right, there's a lot of projects that come here with good intentions and they don't work out. And we're aware of that. And that the traditional way of direct aid is what we're going away from. In other words, we want to teach our women to go fishing instead of giving the fish. Because if you feed them today, next week they'll be hungry. Then what? Right? So that direct aid approach is what we're going away from. We want to teach you how to fish. So that's why that training is very important. And the process and the steps involved to get the mindset shift. That's another thing too. Some intangible stuff, how do you shift the mindset that you trust the process and you see success? So right now, to answer you right now, we're seeing success already, that the fact that some of these women have online presence. You can Google them, you can look them up. And that's that exposure they didn't have before.
Okay, part two of the question. I like the idea that you are exposing these women who qualify. I'm going to ask who qualifies, but that's a different question. I have 4 questions for you.
Okay.
Question number 2. Now, even as they learn to export their products, is there an insufficient market just within East Africa for them to trade in?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we came in focusing on the global end of things, but this goes around East Africa as well. You know, right now we're focused on Kenya, right? And we have partners within Kenya as far as shipping goes that can get the product from anywhere around. It doesn't matter, last mile. We can get the product from anywhere to anywhere at any point, right? And so with those kind of partnerships, we'll be able to fulfill the East Africa region as well. Our next stop, Uganda, Kenya. And the idea is that these women, as they come, as they onboard, they have more bigger issues. It's not just digital end of things. You're teaching them how to run business from an online perspective, and there's things like quality control, right? Providing quality products, providing products that, meet the standard, not just globally, but East Africa. So in East Africa region, we are definitely focused and we are going to provide the ability to have these women be able to sell their products anywhere around East Africa and have them delivered, to the doorstep, last mile to the doorstep, whatever they are. Doesn't matter how rural they are. We're already doing that right now.
Okay. Third question, second last. What have you done to ensure that, beyond, of course, having this interview that we're having, that what you plan to do, your organization, is actually well known within this region? What have you done to ensure that as many people as can possibly know about you have known about you?
So far, we've focused on events, right? The first thing we did is do an event in Las Vegas because the foundation was from Las Vegas and we had KTN even come out in Las Vegas. And so that was the first step, right? And so now we're doing another event on Saturday at Club 1, K1. And we'll be doing these events. So it's a combination of more of a flea market and a fashion show. And because we have a very unique feature that none of the other Amazons or systems have, which we call it ensemble styles. This feature is going to help sell products from a different perspective. And so let me explain that a little bit.
Please.
Ensemble styles.
Yeah.
So when you have a shirt, let's say an Ankara shirt or a dress, right? And you just show the Ankara dress to mostly people in the States. They don't get it sometimes. They don't understand what is that, right? But when you take that dress and put it on a model, right? And put some nice earrings, a nice bag, everything nice, then they see that look, right? That style, and they say, I want that, right? And this was huge in Vegas, when we had the runways and, you have these combinations where you have a stylist, choose different type of things and put it together. And so what happens is that you're able to purchase that style.
Okay.
Everything in that style. And our system is able to split the payment to the different vendors that participated in creating that style. But not just vendors. The system is also able to split payment to the model, the stylist, the makeup artist. Basically, we're empowering everybody that has created that style. So instead of when you buy an item and you're empowering one woman, you end up empowering 7 or 8 because, there's 4 vendors that created that style, one with dresses, one with the bags, one with earrings. And then you have the model, and then you have the stylist, and then you have the makeup artist. So the system is built to basically empower all those people at the same time. And that's one of our main feature. And so even with this event that we have on Saturday, that's the whole idea. We have a fashion, and if you see, something you like, you can buy the whole style. That's kind of like how we're going at it.
Okay. So then I guess that question then comes up, is that who then qualifies? I have my cottage.
How did you guess that was the last thing I was going to ask?
It's like clairvoyance is one of my things.
Go ahead.
Keep up to
Clairvoyant.
it.
Yes.
So, I mean, who qualifies? I could have my own cottage industry in my room in my house, and I say, look, this is pretty good stuff, my friends. How then do I know that I can take these things to a global scale? I want somebody in Idaho buying my, yarn mittens, whatever. How then do I say that I can be part of it? How do you make it inclusive for everybody? Because I would assume it's something you want as many people to jump on.
Yes, absolutely. We want as many people to come on the platform or through the process. So there's a qualification process. And you're right, not everything qualifies for the global market. But we're not using that as a disqualifying factor. So what we're telling is women, hey, you are making 10 to 12 products, right? Maybe only one, it fits the global market, right? That's the one we're going to focus on for this platform. But that does not stop you from doing what you do on a daily basis. So it's just one of another sales channel for you to focus on, and keep scaling. Now, the qualification process, we have a marketing team that we collaborate both here in the US, and we kind of look at the trends, the fashion trend, people in the fashion industry. We know what's trending out there and what makes sense to bring over there. So we there's a collaboration between the Kenyan marketing team and the US marketing team to come up with, these are the unique items that we do. So when you go to these workshops, we tell these women, bring whatever you have, and then we have the marketing team there. They kind of see this fits the market, and so on. And so that's that. To qualify, we have to get something that makes sense to that, like you say, the market in Idaho, Texas, and all that. But the goal too is not really to disqualify anybody who doesn't have anything that fits the market. Now they have the knowledge now. Say, hey, you know what? If I go back on a drawing board, I can keep doing what I do, but I can add something that I notice it can fit in another market.
Does your training include that? Telling them or explaining and training them how it is to ensure that their product fits the market.
Yes, absolutely. So that's what we're talking about, some of the challenges, right? You find somebody with a unique product, but the finishing is not up to standard. So again, we don't want to be like, hey, you're not ready. So we say, these are things, we partner them with the marketing team. We say, hey, these are things you need to fix in order for you to be prepared for the global market. So there's a quality control mechanism there, but it's a process where we have to teach them how to be prepared for that process. Because remember, again, this is a market they never used to have before.
Yeah.
And the standards are different now, right?
Like the market has been there. It's just that it isn't organized quite in the way that yours is. Because there's one particular product that Kenya has sent out worldwide, the Kiondo. Okay? And then came the Kikoi. Okay? And there were always branding issues. But something as systematic and brings many products together as you are doing, that is new. It's absolutely new. But the reason why I ask about the training is because, yes, you will train a group of women. Now, maybe what I'm about to ask is something that you're already doing, but how do you ensure that training is cascaded so that a larger pool of people have that same knowledge? And so you have an even larger variety of products. Because with this sort of ensemble, what you end up doing then, you actually raise the quality of what it is.
Yes, absolutely.
So am I speaking into something that you're already doing?
Yes,
sir. The way the training is set up, so we have what we call data agents, right? So these are, because you find people that create products that but they don't have knowledge on the digital space. But then you have people that don't have products but understand digital completely, right? So we put those together, right? We call them data agents, and those are the ones that help the ones that don't understand, the digital aspect of things. And so it's not just a 2-day training and it's done. It's a continuous thing, right? We mentor them, and so these data agents, they basically help them as they move along, right, for a period of time, to help them actually sell products. And post online, on social and things like that, until the time they will completely understand the system. So it's not, the workshop is just to give them the feet wet.
Okay. And those who are purchasing these products on a global scale, because I'm looking also at things like integrity of ownership, right? Are they aware that the origin of these products is Kenya? Because a lot of times when we are going into business, it's very clear to me if I have a product that's coming out of the United States, could be whatever, and I know very well what it is. But I think it presents a unique opportunity for then the other side of the pond to have an awareness that a product of such quality comes from here. So are you able to maintain integrity of ownership or even awareness that this comes from Kenya?
So on the Dada Soko, once you set up your duka, we call it online duka, digital store, right? You have a profile there, so and so collection, so and so designs, or all that. So in that there's a profile highlighting your stories there, right? Kind of your profile showing who you are, what you make, and all that. And then the description also as well. We let these women give us a description. What do you want to call this product? What is it? It's all about, right? So So when you go different regions, we're gonna do the same thing, whereby your profile shows where you're located, what it's all about.
All right. Yeah. So even as we are continuing with this conversation, guys, now looking at the fact that you can link women in Kenya to a global market, insisting on quality, and also insisting on now going end to end in terms of the business chain or the digital footprint. I have to ask then, because you talked about, you can provide a mobile phone for somebody who doesn't have one, because clearly they will need a smartphone. Why make it so easy for them through the process? Because you've said, I'll bring you in for a workshop, I'll pay your transport, I'll pay your accommodation, and make sure you get back to where you need to go. I'll make sure that, we teach you and train you about the quality and help you finish. Why would you do that and make it so easy for anybody to go through this?
Yeah, so it's not that we're making it easy. Actually, there's a qualification. You have to qualify to even get the phone, right? There's a qualification process. So the project initially, like Pete said, we are here not to necessarily provide direct aid, but to empower the women so that they can self-sustain themselves, right? And so we provide training, and that training dictates, there's a process, and that in the training dictates if you qualify to even get a phone, or if you qualify to be part of the Dada Soko project. Now, like we said, not everybody qualifies, right? Either way, we'll train, right? And even if you don't qualify and you learn something in the digital space, you can go, leverage that somewhere else. You can go, use Jumia or Amazon or anything else, as long as now.
Where do the trainings take place?
When do they take place?
Where?
Well, so we've partnered with a few different groups. Like one of them is the YWCA, okay, that provides, we work together, mobilize the women from different areas, and trainings, they happen in their facilities. We have other groups as well, that we work with, and we provide we mobilize all these women into these different facilities. But it's partnerships, For us, we look at the easiest way. We don't want to create from scratch. We know that there are groups already, there are non-profits already that can provide.
So you chose Kenya YWCA. What took you to YWCA specifically?
Well,
let me explain why I'm asking the question. See, you mentioned something very pertinent. You don't really want to reinvent the wheel here. So there's an organization called Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. They have details about literally every organization that exists in this country, and also what they do. And they're not called the National Bureau of Statistics for nothing. if you want to understand about the membership, what they do, all those details, they have. So the question I'm actually asking, did you go to an institution such as this one to get your information so that when you are now approaching people, you're very clear about, because they do the work you talk about, they've already done it for you. They know.
Yeah, so good question. No, we did not go to that board, right? And thanks for that knowledge, because that should be our next step. So YWCA and other organizations we've done, you got to understand that we overseas, we rely on our contacts here. Okay, so the people that we brought on board to be part of the team, in all fairness to them, they can only direct us to what they know, right? So YWCA was one of the chosen.
Oh, YWCA is a good choice, by the way.
Yeah,
I should have said that.
Yeah.
It's a good choice.
So, and we have others. So through them now, like you say now, they know some of these regions and what these women have. And we went through that process.
Precisely.
Yes. So, and I'm glad you mentioned that board, because now we want to keep scaling to other organizations that might not get the exposure that we're giving the ones we're working with today.
Right.
So we can make sure this is all inclusive, and we go to the deep parts of Kenya and reach everybody, give everybody the opportunity to at least plug in. And like Moses is saying, that we might, not everybody might come in through, but just that knowledge of, hey, there's a digital transformation, there's something I can do, and if I need to, there's a platform here I can go to. Just that knowledge is very rewarding. Now, in terms of transport, you're asking and all that. So once we work with these organizations, there's a criteria we tell them. These are the women, this is the product we're looking for. Then they go reach, because they know these regions, right? Like we've been to Siaya, Kisumu, Kisii, all these places. They know what's unique over there based on the requirements we give them, right? So once you choose this, so the training is a control group, right? So once you choose them, that's when the challenge is, how do you get them to even come to Kisumu, where we can have a bigger training. And that's what we say we provide the training. So it's not one of those easy, like you're asking. It's not easy. There's a process. There's a process and there's steps along the way,
so
to
that by
get
the
qualified to be on the platform and the workshop.
So by the time you get on the platform, then you are guaranteed that you've been through this process and that you're not going to have any issues then in terms of quality control or know-how when it comes to business. So then I want to go now towards... I'm glad that you mentioned these other areas in the country that are outside of Nairobi, because unfortunately a lot of people come and they focus on Nairobi, and just traveling around Kenya, we know for sure that there's so much that is done that can actually be good business for women in this country, that they do the work of their hands, soapstone, beads. I think of the deras in different parts of the country that can actually be great business ideas to go out into other parts of the world. Are we mopping up as much as possible, or just focusing on certain towns in the country?
We want to go as far as we can, but just like any business, you don't want to start open-ended, right?
No, you don't.
Yeah, you want to cherry pick what makes sense for the first, what we call MVP 1. Or version 1, version 2. But you're right. So ideally, we want to scale and make sure this one is accessible to anybody in the country, and eventually Africa, really, because what we're trying to do is to tell our stories in a different perspective. We consume a lot from overseas. So why can we not export out there too, right? And the beauty of our platform is that there's women in the village, like we did Las Vegas last week. There's sales from somebody from Las Vegas, and this woman got their revenue in Siaya. So think about that. Before that direct access to consumer over there without knowing them, it was not there, because the traditional way of doing things was about, hey, where did you get this shirt from? I got it from so and so. It's more of a word of mouth referral within a network, and at some point it'll stop. So how do you get that online exposure and somebody access to direct? So that's what we're excited about. But yes, eventually, and that's why we anybody who's listening out there, talk to your representative, with the MP, MC, whatever that case will be. Tell them there's this platform. Can you reach out to the other Soko team and make sure we can get this to us, so that we can get to the grassroots?
It's actually exciting.
Yeah.
It's actually very, very exciting.
Yeah.
But let me ask this question. There's a lot of data, there's a lot of information that you're getting from this. Are you harnessing that data?
No. So the data that is coming from this, we're using to enhance the platform. Okay, the platform has a machine learning part of it, and the idea is to be able to understand or know what the different markets out there or the different customers are looking for. You know, if it's for example a kiondo, you know, what type of a kiondo are we looking? Is somebody in Las Vegas or somebody in Miami, where you know there's an ocean, they will like, right? As opposed to somebody in Boston, right? But as far as the data, it's just simply for the product itself. We are not we don't sell anybody's data. We don't work with anybody else. You know, that data is private. And it doesn't go anywhere else apart from that. So.
No, that's not what I was asking. But I'm glad you brought it out because that is actually the bigger issue that the world is discussing right now.
Right.
Okay, privacy, confidentiality, what to do with data. What I was asking was something you probably touched on when you first started responding. Is it's a lot of information and it informs you. The things you come across, because there'll be things you'll get to know which you didn't know before.
Yes,
Right.
Now,
Absolutely.
when you get this information, what I was actually asking is, how do you use it to actually, you mentioned make the platform better, but how do you actually then use it to not just make the platform better, but to also make the very people you're working with? Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You've understood.
Yeah, we definitely, we learn from it and create the process, make the process better.
Yes.
So the way it's set up is when you started, you know, when we started doing the training,
Yes.
right, to now, where are we, right? And so we run these different surveys to understand the different levels, right, where we've reached. So, you know, when you run the survey, you'll understand, okay, the first cohort that we did, right, we did X, Y, Z. You know, maybe, you know, the Z didn't work, right? So we need to, you know, maneuver and do something different, right? Because one thing that we've the biggest challenge is that the women, they provide products. Yes, that's one thing, you know, they create the products, but you get to a point where some of them have a challenge when it comes to the actual, you know, business part of online business part of things, right? And, you know, challenges like tags, for example, you know, clothes in America, they have to have tags, right? That say extra large, medium, something, right? Those are challenges that now we help them even figure out, right? And so we didn't know that, you know, when we started, but after a few cohorts, you know, we understood, okay, this is an issue.
Needs to be,
Yeah, so this is an issue that needs to be addressed. And we focus on addressing that issue, right? And so we collect this information and do surveys to really understand how do we better, not just, you know, the women, but us as well, you know, provide the best training that we can.
Sure.
Yeah.
In terms of, because obviously you're dealing, and eventually we'll deal with large groups of people. How do you plug in then your government of the day? It's just vital here, I would think, because you have localized, especially with devolution now, you have localized centers where people will come together to either access or look for information. Are you thinking about, or have you already gotten to the point whereby now you're communicating and then buddying up with local governments?
Yeah, and we want to do it in a non-political way. We don't have ties or affiliation to any political party, because we know once we do that, we start having issues, right?
You won't escape.
I won't escape that.
No, you won't. Because it isn't your affiliation, it is the people who affiliate with you. You see, you will be affiliating with the person, and this person has other affiliations.
Yeah.
Yes. But you can minimize it.
Yes. So in a minimizing factor, so
Yes.
we're telling our women, reach out to your representative.
So you go reach out.
We do too.
Okay.
We've done so. We're in talks with a few women's rep, right? And some of them actually they want to partner with us in the long term. Some of them say, hey, you know what, we like what you're doing, and you know, I don't want this to be like a one-off thing. Once you come do your workshop, you're gone and you're gone. I want a long-term partnership. So that's that. And so again, we might not just us being overseas for so long, we might not know all the mechanism on the ground. So we tell
you will know.
I will know.
You will know.
We
Yeah,
try.
yeah. You will know.
So we tell our women, reach out. We gotta do what we gotta do on our end, but on your end too. And that's what we're talking about, the part of the fishing, right? They have to be proactive in a way that, hey, we heard about it at Soko. My daughter can benefit this. My niece can benefit on this. My sister can benefit on this. So the men that are listening out there, right? So reach out to your representative. Tell them, hey, how can we get this thing? Because you have to collaborate. Like you question the government. We have to collaborate with whatever local government is there to make that process easy.
We are a very highly politicized society here. And it isn't all negative. Because the very thing that you're saying is an issue for a political platform.
Absolutely.
When I say you can't escape it, I mean precisely that. You can't escape it. Because that politics is not as negative as it always sounds.
Okay.
Because that politics will actually enable this message to be spread far wider. If somebody makes it a campaign issue, because they'll own it and say they're the ones who've done this. But they haven't done it, but the net result is that a lot of other people who didn't know about it will get to know it. And because it's an online platform, it'll mitigate. Because forget what the politician says. Somebody can go online and read and say, actually, this isn't quite what this person is telling us.
Okay, that's what you're saying, yeah.
But I stand to benefit from it. Yes. So I thank the person for letting me know, but I'm benefiting from it.
Yeah.
And the benefits are also not in the hands of the politician.
Exactly.
The process is not in the hands of the politician.
Okay.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Makes sense?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir. Yeah. And thanks for that knowledge, because we're learning, as you say, we're learning as we go.
Age has its advantages.
Is that what it is?
Where would you like this to be? What are you seeing in terms of future? What can actually come about? Because it's still young in its progression, clearly, but already looking at it and saying that providing absolutely fantastic opportunities for women, young and older. Where do you see it in the next few years? What would be your hope that it would grow into?
An Amazon for women. Shoot for the moon, right? No, we are looking at it from every angle, and it's not just products. We already have started working on another aspect of the platform, which is more on the freelance part. Okay, because as we are doing these trainings, we realize it's not just people selling products, but people providing services. Whether it's digital services or services like cleaning and things like that. So we are working on that freelance part of the system. Our hope and goals is to really have the platform spread everywhere in Kenya, right, at this next year, right, and then East Africa. And once we can get East Africa and Kenya, then we can go to the other countries in Africa and basically connect women to global markets. And
another thing I can add is see, to you asking about the data we're getting, what are you using for, right? So long term, as we see these women sell their products, we'll have that data, who's selling what, at what capacity. So we say, okay, how do you scale? So there's a microfinancing piece to it. Right now is not there now, but eventually it's gonna be there, whereby it's based on your activity on the platform, based on your sales on the platform. We see, okay, there's a trend
your turnover. Yes.
How do we come in and help you to scale more so you can mass produce and run your business? So that's a vision. And somebody the other day asked me, hey, what if you find somebody come on the platform and then they do so good and they say, you know what, I want to leave that at Soko. I want to go do my own thing on the side. And I said, that would be the success that I'm looking for, whereby we found this somebody before they didn't know anything about digital world. They were not on the platform. We got on our platform. They went through the training. They went through the whole, because it's a process. You got to learn it as you go. And they decide, oh, I'm too big for that, so I want to go do my own thing. That's the success that I want. We want to have these kind of stories out there. And that's what we're saying is an ecosystem when you plug in is a win-win situation. Like you were talking about freelance. If you're freelance or you're a developer, and there's companies out in the world, they're looking for developers, that would be the platform. And they're looking for specific women to be their developers, that's the platform. So consultancy marketing, all that stuff. So that's the vision where we want to go. Anybody who comes in, trust the process, do the work, go fishing. There's going to be rewards in the end.
I get it.
Yeah.
Even as our time winds down, then to ask the question that, so you say focus on one thing. You may have 20 products that you've been doing kind of mediocre kind of business, and then you say focus on one thing. So what if that one thing then does so well, and then you hear that the demand from the market may be a tweak on that one thing? Do you then encourage women to say, okay, let's see how we can change this a little bit, add something to this?
Absolutely.
Or are you insisting on one thing?
No, absolutely. And that's part of the data we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. What do you learn? What are you using? This feedback, the data we're getting, the machine learning is saying, yeah, absolutely. So once you have a unique product that is selling, but there's this feedback coming, hey, can I get this add-on? Or that, because some of them might want a customized thing there.
Sure.
And yeah, but the challenge would be like, oh, I cannot do that because that's an add-on cost to the woman. And that's why we plug in and say, you know what, we can support you on that one, so you can be able to meet the demands that is coming your way. And those are the success stories we're looking for. And we have that already, actually. In Vegas, we had one of the bags and the strap, the way it was designed. Somebody said, you know what, I want to change the strap. Can you have this person make a strap for me like this?
Right.
Yeah, and that's in the process. So you're right there. So the feedback, the data we're getting, we use that to improvise and improve the platform, the process, and the livelihood of these women.
You know, what you're doing is a great thing, actually. It's not a good thing, it's a great thing. Because taking advantage of the information age and everything it entails, and ensuring that it benefits people from the very, very basic structures of society, that is a great thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Saturday in Nairobi, and then what happens after that?
Well, after Saturday, we'll continue. Obviously, the holidays are coming, but starting Q1, we'll continue with trainings in different regions. And like Pete said, reach out to your representative, to get, Dada Soko down there, and, so we can mobilize different people in different regions and create different cohorts. And the idea is to train as many as we can. And onboard as well, and then on the state side, it's the marketing of these products,
right.
Because we have to showcase. We are showcasing our products in a different line, right? And the concept of they're all handmade, right? In Italy, stuff is handmade. The price goes up.
Absolutely.
Right? So that should be the same thing in Africa. If it's handmade,
Indeed.
that price should go up. And so, our goal is next year we are running, and training as many as we can, helping them, get the quality, right, because quality is a big thing.
Indeed.
Quality, if that product it has to qualify to be, to be sold out there. And see, the American market is a little bit different because they rely on reviews and ratings, right? And so
it has to be good from
it has to be, the quality has to be on point. And we're gonna help them. We'll help them get to the quality. They might not have it right now,
but they'll have it.
They'll have it.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us in the Situation Room this morning. Pete Munyasia and Moses Kusasira, thank you for being in the Situation Room this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Good things that are happening, and we can't wait to hear, of course, of the success, and never know who will plug in.
Yes.
Thank you for being part of the conversation this morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.